Olivia Nuzzi was a rising star in political journalism, quickly becoming one of the most talked-about young reporters in the industry. Her ability to break through the noise and deliver stories that mattered set her apart from her peers. Known for her sharp reporting and exclusive stories, Nuzzi developed a reputation for getting to the heart of political intrigue and uncovering details others missed. She built her reputation at New York Magazine, earning a National Magazine Award nomination for her fearless coverage and insightful analysis of the political landscape. Her achievements also landed her a coveted spot on Forbes' 30 Under 30 list, cementing her status as a journalist to watch. In early 2025, Nuzzi took on a new challenge as Vanity Fair's West Coast editor, tasked with bringing her political insight and investigative skills to the magazine's coverage of both culture and politics. Her move was seen as a natural next step in her career, and expectations were high for her to deliver big stories, fresh perspectives, and to help shape the magazine's editorial direction. The magazine, famous for its in-depth profiles and Hollywood coverage, anticipated that Nuzzi's political instincts would add a new edge, blending the worlds of celebrity and power in unexpected ways. Her byline carried weight, and her appointment was met with industry buzz, with colleagues and competitors alike eager to see what she would do next. For several months, Nuzzi settled into her new role without public controversy, focusing on her work and building relationships within the Vanity Fair team. She continued to build her career, her work appearing in one of the world's most prestigious magazines, and her influence in the media world only seemed to grow. But beneath the surface, a different story was unfolding, one that would soon erupt into a public scandal and catch the attention of the entire industry. This story had little to do with her published work and everything to do with her conduct as a journalist, raising questions about ethics and responsibility. The events that followed would threaten to overshadow her achievements, putting her reputation and future in journalism at risk. And they would raise serious questions about the boundaries between personal and professional life in journalism, forcing the industry to confront uncomfortable truths about its own culture. In November 2025, explosive allegations against Nuzzi surfaced online, sending shockwaves through the media world and igniting a firestorm of speculation. The source was Ryan Lizza, her former fiance and fellow journalist, who published his claims on Substack, a platform known for unfiltered commentary and independent reporting. Lizza accused Nuzzi of crossing ethical lines, blurring the boundary between reporter and subject, and raising questions about her professional judgment. He alleged she had inappropriate relationships with political figures she covered, providing what he called evidence, emails, messages, and personal accounts that he claimed supported his story. The story quickly spread from niche blogs to major news outlets, becoming a public crisis for Nuzzi and Vanity Fair, and dominating social media conversations. Lizza's core accusation, Nuzzi had lost objectivity, becoming too close to her sources and compromising her integrity, struck a nerve in the journalism community. For any journalist, such claims are devastating. They strike at the heart of public trust and threaten to unravel years of hard-earned credibility. The timing was critical, as Nuzzi was still new at Vanity Fair, trying to establish herself in a high-profile role. The magazine, known for its high standards and storied reputation, suddenly found itself at the center of a media storm, with its credibility on the line. The allegations cast a shadow over her current work and reputation, raising doubts about her future in journalism. All eyes turned to Vanity Fair, waiting to see how it would respond to the growing controversy and whether it would stand by its new star reporter. The pressure was immediate and intense, with every move scrutinized by both the public and the press. The most serious allegation involved Robert F. Kennedy Jr., then U.S. Secretary of Health. Lizza claimed Nuzzi's relationship with Kennedy began after she profiled him in 2023, evolving into a secret digital affair. He alleged she became a behind-the-scenes operative for Kennedy's 2024 campaign, feeding information and suppressing damaging stories. If true, this would be a massive breach of journalistic ethics. The public expects reporters to report, not to influence campaigns. Kennedy, married to actress Cheryl Hines, reportedly considered legal action against Nuzzi, alleging manipulation and unsolicited explicit messages. He even hired a security expert to investigate, signaling the seriousness of the situation. This alleged relationship became the centerpiece of the scandal. It wasn't just a personal mistake, it was a fundamental breach of professional duty. Readers began to question the fairness of Nuzzi's reporting. The trust between journalist and audience was shaken. the accusations raised doubts about all her campaign coverage. The fallout was immediate and far-reaching. Lizza didn't stop with Kennedy. He pointed to a pattern of behavior. He alleged Nuzzi had an affair with Mark Sanford, former South Carolina governor, while covering his 2020 presidential bid. Lizza published a handwritten note from Nuzzi to Sanford, suggesting unusual intimacy between reporter and subject. This evidence painted a troubling picture, not a one-time lapse, but a repeated disregard for professional boundaries. The claims about Sanford made the Kennedy allegations seem more credible. For Vanity Fair, this history was deeply concerning. The magazine now faced questions about Nuzzi's entire professional reputation. The cumulative weight of the allegations made it difficult for the magazine to stand by her. It was no longer just about her recent work, but about her pattern of conduct. The need for a thorough investigation became clear. Vanity Fair and Condé Nast were caught off guard by the scandal and stayed silent for days. Eventually, they issued a statement, announcing an independent review by the law firm Davis Wright Tremaine. The firm examined Nuzzi's Vanity Fair articles, searching for bias or factual inaccuracies. Their findings: no evidence of bias or inaccuracies in her published work. But the problem wasn't just about the articles, it was about the appearance of a conflict of interest. The public scandal had already damaged Nuzzi's and the magazine's credibility. Even with her work cleared, the perception of compromised ethics lingered. Vanity Fair faced a dilemma. Technical accuracy wasn't enough to restore trust. The magazine had to weigh its reputation against the fallout from the allegations. The internal review couldn't erase the controversy. The damage to public trust was done. Vanity Fair had to decide its next move. The stakes for the magazine's legacy were high. Despite the review clearing her published work, the scandal made Nuzzi's position at Vanity Fair untenable. The controversy overshadowed her contributions and threatened the magazine's reputation. On December 5, 2025, Condé Nast announced that Nuzzi and Vanity Fair had mutually agreed to part ways. Her contract, set to expire at year's end, would not be renewed. The official statement emphasized the decision was in the magazine's best interest. Vanity Fair needed to protect its legacy and credibility. Nuzzi's tenure ended after less than a year, under a cloud of controversy. She left as a central figure in a scandal that raised fundamental questions about journalistic ethics. The mutual separation marked the end of a difficult chapter for both Nuzzi and the magazine. As the scandal reached its peak and public scrutiny intensified, Nuzzi released a memoir, in December 2025, hoping to reclaim her narrative and offer her perspective on the events that had unfolded. The book was her attempt to tell her side of the story, though she avoided naming Kennedy directly, choosing instead to focus on her own experiences and reflections. Critics panned the memoir, saying it failed to fully address the ethical issues at the heart of the scandal, and accused her of sidestepping the most difficult questions. Instead of closure, the book fueled more debate about her actions and intentions, sparking heated discussions in newsrooms and online forums alike. Around the same time, Nuzzi gave a video interview where she was more direct, facing tough questions from the press. She openly admitted to wrongdoing, saying, "I had fucked up. Those ethics rules exist for a reason, and I had violated that." Her candor surprised many. This public confession was what many in journalism had been waiting for, a rare moment of accountability in a high-profile case. She acknowledged breaking the fundamental rules of her profession, admitting that her actions had undermined trust in her reporting. Nuzzi also stated she would not return to campaign reporting, recognizing her credibility was damaged and her reputation within the industry forever altered. Her memoir and interview showed a person grappling with the consequences of her actions, wrestling with regret and the weight of public judgment. She tried to explain her personal turmoil, but ultimately admitted to a serious breach of ethics, acknowledging the pain it caused colleagues and readers alike. The scandal had changed the course of her career, leaving her professional future uncertain and her legacy in question. Nuzzi was left to contemplate her next steps, both personally and professionally, as she faced the difficult task of rebuilding her life after public disgrace. This scandal underscored why ethics are the backbone of journalism. Journalistic ethics exist to ensure the public can trust the news. Objectivity is crucial. Reporters must not let personal relationships influence their work. When a journalist becomes involved with a subject, it creates a conflict of interest. The public can no longer trust the reporting is fair or impartial. It's like a referee secretly favoring one team. The integrity of the game is lost. The allegations against Nuzzi weren't just about her private life. They were about her professional responsibilities. Helping a political candidate while reporting on their campaign is a clear violation of trust. Vanity Fair's decision to part ways was about protecting that trust. The magazine had to show it takes ethics seriously. Credibility is everything in journalism. Vanity Fair faced a tough but necessary choice. The scandal was too big to ignore, threatening the magazine's reputation and legacy. Even with no evidence of bias in her articles, the perception of a conflict of interest was damaging. The decision to end Nuzzi's contract sent a clear message: ethical standards come first. By parting ways, Vanity Fair aimed to restore trust with readers and the industry. For Nuzzi, the consequences were severe. Her career trajectory was dramatically altered. Her admission and exit from campaign reporting showed she understood the gravity of her actions. The story is a cautionary tale about the importance of boundaries in journalism. Even the most talented reporters are not above the rules. Vanity Fair's response reaffirmed its commitment to the ethical principles that define credible journalism.